Because you see, 5,000 years ago, people wanted to be respected. And 2,000 years ago, and a week ago, and today, people want to be respected. And in a week from now, and in 10 years from now, and in 5,000 years from now, people want to be respected.
Welcome back, folks. You may notice that I am in a new studio, and this is the first episode that I am recording in the new Podium Studios main room, and I'm really excited about being able to be here. This is a studio that I've started with a good friend of mine, and we are both going to be producing a ton of content out of here, and we hope that a lot of other people will be as well. But this is the new home for the Experience Leader podcast. And so we have some unfinished business to get back to. Last week, we talked to Horst Schulze about his legendary career, all of the amazing things he's done, the people that he has influenced, myself included. And today in part 2, we are going to talk about how to be excellent, not just in your work, in your business, but also in your life. Horst drops a lot of wisdom today, and I think that you're really going to enjoy this. I know that I did. So again, get out the pen, get out the pad, be ready to watch this multiple times. Let's jump back into it with Horst Schulze.
And that's a business. You know, if you, I see the companies, I work with many, I work with some great ones, but most of them hire people, as I said, to fulfill a function, rather than offer them to be part of a purpose. So offer them belonging. And there was in fact about 25 years, it's quite a few years ago. However, there was the largest workers survey ever made. The interviewed 3 million workers, US and Europe. What is important to you in your job? Number 1 was sense of belonging. Well, and if you would have asked before, everybody would have said it's money. Well, money was number 6. So there you are, sense of belonging. But do we offer a sense of belonging? We don't offer it, and then we complain that the employee is not good or that I can't have employees. Well, when I know the desire of the employee is, the human being is to belong, to be part of something, have purpose. So why wouldn't I offer that?
Exactly. The issue essentially is that the leader, the person who's supposed to be leading, doesn't have that strong sense of purpose themselves, and they are unable to transfer that to them. They are not clear enough. They don't have enough conviction.
That's the very point. That's the very point. You see, the concentration is money rather than working on the things that make money, including, of course, great delivery of service.
That's right. That's right. And again, that maitre d' nailed it, and I love it. It's simple. 2 words: create excellence. People want to do that. They want to go and they want to use their gifts and their talents, and they want to create excellence, and they want to belong to something bigger than themselves.
That's right. That has to be the vision of a leader. When we started Ritz-Carlton, my vision, that I had a great job. I was retired. I had my golden handcuffs. I had everything I wanted, and I worked with wonderful people in a wonderful company. But I was offered to start this new brand as in charge of operation of the company. I wasn't an investor and I wasn't a developer. There was some others. I was hired to run the company, the operations. So I came here with only one purpose: to create the finest hotel company in the world. But then I have to ask myself, is that purpose good for all concerned? I had to sit down, is that good for the investors, what I want to do here? Is that good for the employees? Is it good for the customer? Is it good for society in the place where I work, my community? And then the answer was yes. And I didn't just say, yes, it is good. I said, why? I really agonized about it. Then I have to ask myself, would God approve? Would God approve of this? And the answer was yes in all cases. In that moment, I, though, as leader, have no more right to compromise it. I have no right. Because if I compromise, I go against the investors, against society, against the employees, against the guests. I can't do that. So sometimes you said they thought I was a tough, you know what? Well, I had no right to compromise. I had to absolutely insist, this is where we're going to go, and these are the standards which get us there. And I cannot compromise that for a friend or for anybody else. I had no right.
That is a rare. It's rare to have somebody who has that clear a picture. I love that you said, would God be pleased with this? Because you're right. That's the ultimacy. That
was the ultimate question for me. Would God be pleased? And I had to think very careful, not just throw out a yes. I did that together with a couple of my first two hires who I knew from Hyatt and had worked with me. And we are really agonized about it. There was discussion, was an unattempted discussion. Why? Now, why is that good for everybody? Why is it good for the investors? And let's break it down. Why is it good for the employees? Let's break it down. And the employees was very clear. They said, if we're the best in the world, we will have opportunities. That means they have opportunity. We will grow. That means they have more income. Everything that they will be highly respected. They will define themselves by the company having a great name, us great people, etc., etc., etc. So we went through that and detailed it. We didn't just say yes, mind you. But then on the end, I said, would God approve of everything?
That is amazing. And you're right.
Should we ask ourselves that once in a while?
Absolutely, all the time. And when you're right, when you have that answer, if God would approve of it this way, then you're right. You have no right to compromise that standard.
I had no right. No. And some people say, and Devin, I had to let people go because it just didn't buy in. And one of them was my friend, and worse, his wife was my wife's friend. And I was sitting on the bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and cried. And I did it anyway because I had no right to compromise this. I had not a right. The terrible pain, I could feel it for a second here. The terrible pain, but then you have said, I will be doing my best for all concerned. That's it.
That's right. And ultimately you did the right thing for the organization, and you probably did the right thing for that individual because that probably
no
allowed
doubt.
them.
Absolutely no doubt. Our later it became very clear to me.
Yeah. You probably enabled them to one, learn a lesson from that, but two, move into what they truly feel like they can buy
really
into.
Fit much differently. There's no question about it. I learned, so somebody asked me, when does it become time to fire somebody? And I said, well, I can tell you. When you hope and visionarily pray that they would come to the office and give their notice, that's time to let them go. Yeah.
I think that's good. I think that's a good measure. I love the focus on the purpose, because what I've found is that you have, and I don't know, I've never been to business school, but what I've found is a lot of folks that I've spoken with,
who I've worked with, there seems to be the focus on the return, right? What return am I going to get, and the focus on what is going to make the most profit. And I'm not saying that profit is a bad thing. I think that we should be rewarded for doing great work. But if that's the number one goal, you're lost in the wind.
Damn it, you're right on. And here's how it translates. I'm in a number of boards, and basically all of them, not all, but in mind you, when you sit on the board of directors, you sit there with 6, 7 other CEOs of other companies. So you know not only what happens in the company, but you pretty well see what is going on in the other companies. And what do we discuss in these board meetings? We discuss money. We discuss a new brand, a loan that we have to take, money that we have. It is nothing but money and some legal-driven decisions. We never talk about the very thing that makes money. That's what I said before. And because that's not what they discussed in business school either. You see, that's why we don't discuss what makes money. And yet there's slogans like customer loyalty. We want customer loyalty. We want customer loyalty. We want alignment. And if you ask those slogans to the CEOs, they cannot interpret what it really means. Customer loyalty, for example, means the customer trusts us. That's all it means. They trust us. So why would they trust us? Because of our product, we know. Those things have been studied, by the way. If you don't agree with me, somebody there, you're wrong, because it's a fact. Has been studied. So why do they become trusting you? Because of the product? It's not true. They come to trust you because of the relationship that they had with somebody. Human beings create trust, not product. Now, if you buy a product constantly and it's perfect all the time, you develop trust in that product. But you much faster really develop trust in the company because of relationship, because somebody treated you right. You go in a hardware store, hypothetically, and buy a screwdriver. Great screwdriver, now I trust them. Ridiculous. Great screwdriver, and the people were nice and helpful, and they made sure that I know. Now I trust them because of somebody who helped. It's human beings, but we never talk about that. In fact, we talk. We say it sometime, and then you ask, "What's your process to make sure you got that kind of a human being?" Nothing. But they have all kind of processes of controls and cost cutting and all kind of processes, but no process to make sure that the human beings that are your employees are part and want to do the job right. It's fascinating. It's totally fascinating. I work, by the way, this doesn't, before you think that only works for a company like Ritz-Carlton, let me tell you, I advise a number of other companies, totally unrelated hotel business, and it works everywhere. I work with a small bank that within 4 years we're now voted the third best small bank in America, and it was nothing when I started with them. And all they did, now I didn't do anything, I only advised. They took it and took it at a higher dimension I could have. And you know, it is that simple. It is all understanding that employee that is here, because in the end, that's how the decisions about the world about us will be made. Is because of the contact they have with some employee, not with me. I'm sitting in the office somewhere. But the doorman in Shanghai, he establishes who we are as a company. So I have to make sure that doorman does it right, sitting in Atlanta. This process.
That is one of the things that I remember Joseph Michelli talked about in his book on the Ritz-Carlton, the New Gold Standard, that a lot of folks probably look at the the focus and the passion on excellence and the customer's experience, they think that those people probably don't have a lot of rigor. But he said it was the absolute opposite of what most people think, that you all actually had a lot of rigor around making sure
was a process.
that it was
a
consistently great experience.
20 points. Everybody had to learn the second day of work. We repeat one of the points every day. You could not go to work. We repeat one of those points again. And 20 days later, you have to hear it again, because I know if we do this better than the competition, we will be superior to them. Process. It's all process.
That is wonderful. One of my slogan is outserve the competition for a reason, because if you outserve them, you'll get all of the other things that you want. You'll get customer loyalty. You'll get people coming and buying and willing to pay more because you do such a better job.
Devin, there was a huge study made, very new study, well, it's about 2 or 3 years old now. 70% of the market overall, any business, are saying, I will be willing, I buy your product. If you take good care of me, serve me well, I will buy your product even if I know that I can buy the same thing next door for less. And here's the fascinating thing, 70%, 80% of the millennials say so. Wow. They say, I'm willing to pay more. If you take, that's what you said, exactly. But by the way, I want to make something, because everybody talks to me about Ritz-Carlton, because Ritz-Carlton is well known here and so on. And of course, it was for the last 14 years that I was leading it, it was voted best hotel company in the world. And I retired on a Friday. I was traveling 250 days a year. My wife was begging me, and I was had the age of retirement. But then on Monday, I decided I would do it one more time. So I went to my wife and said, I'm going to do it one more time. And she said, this is outrageous. Do you want to drown? Okay, why would you do this? This is terrible. Then I said, well, you're right. This is not fair. But a couple of days later, Sherry said to me, I have to make a comment about marriage generally too. I'm going to do that if you like it or not. And Sherry, my wife, my wonderful wife, said, listen, that's who you are, and I will support you. And I started another hotel company. The hotel company there's no Capella Hotel Company. There's none in the U.S. But you may have seen in TV President Trump meeting with Kim of North Korea in Singapore. That was in a Capella Hotel. And the Capella Hotel Company is now voted #1 in the world. And the Capella Hotel in Bali is voted best hotel in the world. And the company best hotel company. The of respecting people, the employee works, to create processes to offer people to be part of you and to succeed in the company whenever they want to and can. To understanding that we serve human beings, to not just give them a room, but give them well-being, not just deliver them food, but make them feel well and have a higher intent in everything. It works no matter where you are, no matter what, no matter in what country, no matter in what culture. Talking about this cultural thing, this survey showed that the subconscious expectation of a customer, no matter in what society, it doesn't matter what culture, the subconscious expectation is the same. But in this case, they want no defect in product, timeliness, and they want to be respected and cared for. In every culture, so much again for culture, Oh, wow, So we found that in many studies that we made that there was absolutely no difference. Absolutely no difference. We found that. And we did a lot of great studies. Our head company do the studies for us. So, but I want to tell you, when I said my great wife, I thought about it. And that's another institution. Your work is an institution, but so is your marriage. Well, but no other marriage is ordained by God. So just as you make a decision to create excellence in your work, that's a decision. Your destiny is a decision. If it is the destiny of work or the destiny of marriage, what's the decision? Is it a decision for excellence, or do you just live marriage? It should be a decision for excellence in marriage. It should be a decision when you get married that you're in love forever, not just love your wife. But that takes work, just like your work takes work. It doesn't matter. You have to do something about it. I mean, and then once in a while, and then work to continuously improve it. If you don't improve your company, it will die. If you don't improve your marriage, it will die. And here's how to improve your marriage. Very simple. Guys, gentlemen, young men, all of you, I want to give you something. You think he's crazy what I'm giving you now, but I want to give you something. This comes from me. Ask your wife, how can I be a better husband? Wow. And if you do that, your marriage just improved. And if you then apply what she says, your marriage is going to be excellent. For you. Be selfish. Ask the question selfishly, so you can improve your marriage. Come on, improve your life. Continuous improvement. The experts talk about continuous improvement. That means in business and as an individual that you eliminate the mistakes that you make. Take them away. And once you take mistakes, the cause of the mistake away, the mistake will never happen again, and you just become better. If you do that as a company, or as an individual, or for a marriage, it doesn't matter. By the way, individually, you excellence as an individual, as a human being, falls into 4 parts of your life. In a thing here, there's a thing. This is a thing. Anything, if it works well for what it has been created, it's excellent. In a human being, if you do your very best in your functioning, yes, the functioning is important. But number 2, if you do your very best in your relationships. Number 3, if you do, not doing perfect, if you do your very best in your functioning and your relationship, and if you do your very best morally and ethically, and for some of us, and I'm not selling that again, but for me, if you do your very best at the same time spiritually. If you do your very best in those 4 areas, or if you want to take the spiritual out, even then you become a great human being. But you want to improve that, so how do you improve yourself? I'm going to recommend that to you now. Young people, hear me. And if you do that, you will become somebody exceptional. If you do what I've tell you now. It's very simple. Ask yourself at least once a week, for a moment, contemplation. How could I do my functioning, my work, better than I'm doing it now? And then tweak it. Implement it. Now, there's never a big hit, just so you know. But there are many small hits. And then a week later, you ask yourself again, and you continuously improve a little bit. But relationally, your relationship is what creates the decision about you. Should ask yourself 4 times a day at least, how could I have done better? When you walk by somebody, how could I have said better hello? I said hi, I could have said, good afternoon, how are you today? Nice to see you. Improve your relationship. If you talk to your boss, question yourself afterwards, how could I do better? Done better? Or if you talk to an employee, how could I have done better? Or talk to a guest, how could I have done better? If you do that 4 times a day and tweak yourself, and at the same time work on your function, of course you ask yourself, in the other areas, morally and ethical, can I do better? Obviously. But if you do that, if you actually would do that, see how simple it is? But so why wouldn't we do that? Because we kind of brush it away. But if you do it, you become a person extraordinary.
I agree. I absolutely agree, and I think it's important to me, if you have the time, because I think that belief about the nature of man and the nature of things and where we come from, why are we here, and you talk about your faith at the end of Excellence Wins, and I would love for you to talk about how your faith has impacted the way that you think about all of these things, business, relationships, all of that.
Well, once we get into our faith and start to learn and start to understand, and I was raised in a religion, Lutheran, but I left home when I was 14. I kind of lost it, but I went when I had a need. I called on God like as if he was a bellman, but when I had no need, I kind of went on. And but then I got married, and my great wife said, "Let's find a church. Can we pray together?" and so on. That was kind of pray loud with somebody. That was kind of individually. That was wow. Being German, that seemed more difficult. Because we have this arm's length attitude. But slowly got into and slowly accepted that, of course there's somebody higher than I am. How ridiculous, how arrogant to think we're the only one. I came to that conclusion. And I said, I will accept that higher, and I will accept Jesus as being my Lord, being in charge of me. I'd rather have him be in charge than somebody else, let me tell you that. So, and then, of course, see the whole issue of, the teaching of love. It's all about love your neighbor. By the way, it doesn't say your Chinese neighbor or your German neighbor. It says love your neighbor as yourself. But and they're thinking about that, and the admittance, I can't really love him, but I can try and come close to it as possible. And so, that became more and more, and I have, so who are my neighbors? Of course my employees are my neighbors. Of course my customers are my neighbors. Of course everybody around me, of course whoever walks close to me is my neighbor. And how can I try in my mind to say, I love them. And I tell the story, I had cancer at the time, and I was told I have a year to live. And let me tell you something, from that moment on, everybody around you looks different. And there is why would I dislike somebody? What a crazy thought.
That is so great. What you said about loving your neighbor. That's really at the heart of this for me. Why I do this is to want to be excellent for other people is to love them.
Why would we? The Bible speaks so much about and why, and isn't it fulfilling to love people and to care for people? And why would we not work on that? It is so hard when you stop and think about it. And we don't take the time to stop and think about things and analyze that and say, wow, Jesus said it a number of times, and he had a good reason to say it. And when you think about it, what a wonderful thing to care for people and people care for you. Okay, let's start there so we can handle it. Okay, care for, oh yeah, we like that. So why not care for? And it comes back. So it invites this, what you like. You like it when people care for you. And how do you invite that? By caring for them. So it is also simply if you allow yourself to think that through, those things through.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's tough for a lot of folks to have the view that you have about business, to have that purpose, to have that conviction that everybody is important, everybody deserves respect.
Yeah, and if I do that well, I make more money on the end. Yeah, that's it. Of course, if people know I care for them and my employees know I care, they will do it. Here is what there's often the discussion about what is a manager, what is a leader. Well, if you would think on your left over here, there are a lot of people. That is your guest, your market, your potential customer or your customers. And here are a lot of people on the right. Those are your employees. If I care for what I'm doing, I know what the market expects from my product. What do the customer want from my product? In my case, in a hotel, it doesn't matter. What do they expect from a typewriter? It doesn't matter from a computer. So I have to be sure that my employees understand what the customer expects. That's called alignment. Management now creates processes, systems, measurement and controls to make sure that actually happens. Leadership creates an environment in which the employee wants to do that and not has to do that. But we manage, we make sure they have to do. But if we would care for them, we would create an environment where they want to. And guess what? You will do a much better job.
I don't doubt that. I've seen that everywhere. I've seen it with me. I've seen it with others. Yeah. I know that is true. You see people talk about it when they talk about where they want to go work. They want to be valued. They want to make an impact. They want to make a difference.
Sure. And so does the customer. I very recently talked to a convention of top hoteliers of America. And before me was a speaker who said everything has changed. Everything's changed. Everything, nothing is the same. High technology and everything's going to change. And mentioned in half an hour speech at least 30 times, every minute, everything's changed. When I came up and said, I want you to all know nothing has changed. You see, because you see, 5,000 years ago, people wanted to be respected. And 2,000 years ago, and a week ago, and today, people want to be respected. And in a week from now, and in 10 years from now, and in 5,000 years from now, people want to be respected. And that's what we have to deliver to a customer. Respect and honor them, recognize them, make them feel honored and respected. Now, how we do that, systems and processes and machines to enable you to do it has changed, sure. But in the end, people want to feel good about what they buy and how they be with you, in particular in a hotel. They don't want to just sleep. They want to be respected and honored and recognized as human beings. Hasn't changed. Sorry, it hasn't. So the most important thing we do to respect that human being and show them that we care and help them to make good decisions about your product hasn't changed. Yeah. So we understand, and that comes, and again, that all goes around the word love that you brought up there. Yeah.
That is the thing that will cause you to make the right decisions. Yeah. It will cause you to respect people. That will cause you to adapt to change in order to continue to do that at the highest level.
Love your neighbor hasn't changed, and to want to be loved as a neighbor hasn't changed. Period.
And it will never change. It will never change.
It will never change.
Horst, this has been just so fantastic. I know I've already I kept you longer than I asked for, and I am immensely grateful. It's been one of the great honors of my life to get to spend an hour talking to you.
Oh, thank you, Devin. I'm honored. Thank you very much, Devin, and all the best to me, and God bless you.
Wow. So I don't know about you, but I am convicted. I'm compelled. I am ready to make a decision, as Mr. Schulze says, to choose excellence. I'm so happy and thankful that Mr. Schulze decided to come on the show and to give us so much of his time, to give us so much of his wisdom. Mr. Schulze, you are always welcome on the Experience Leader podcast. I hope that you agree with me when I say that this is one of the most, and I will venture to say the most important episode that I've done so far because of what was said, because it cuts past just business. It gets into how you live your life and you choosing excellence in every part of your life. So, in an effort to talk about what I think that if you don't remember anything else, this is what you need to take away from this episode. One, make a decision to commit to excellence. It starts here because it really is a decision. And don't just do that in your work, do it in every area of your life: work, relationships, spirituality, all of these areas. You have to make that choice, and it is a choice. Two, in pursuit of that, ask everyone how you can be better. Ask your spouse, ask your friends, ask your family, ask your coworkers, how can I be better at what I'm doing? And if you take that, as Mr. Schulze said, if you take that and you actually implement it, if you actually do the things that they say, you will be on your way not just to having an excellent business, but to being an extraordinary person. And I think we all want that. As I mentioned in the last episode, there's a lot out there that Mr. Schulze has done that you should go out and pick up. Again, I highly recommend his book, Excellence Wins. A fantastic book. You can get it wherever books are sold. As I mentioned before, go and check out his leadership materials at archandtowerplus.com. There are courses that you can get to be able to learn leadership principles from Mr. Schulze himself, and I highly recommend that you go check that out. And if you found this useful, if you found this helpful, one, of course, I appreciate a like and a subscribe. However, I'm also going to ask you, because this is such important information, if you found this helpful, share this with somebody that you think needs to hear it. Share it with somebody that you want to get as fired up as you got about this episode. And until next time, keep outserving your competition on your relentless pursuit to become an experienced leader. See you next time.